It looks like the new vision of VR has finally arrived, and the best part is it's coming equipped with something a little bit more to give it a little bit more oomph. And if you're the kind of person who's into, say, VTubing, you might be down for this one. So let's go right into the article, shall we? Hey everybody, Zach here, good to be back, and today we are going to be reviewing not reviewing, wow, I don't know why I jumped to tech review voice automatically. So we're going to be looking at the article HTC's new VR face tracker that can scan your lips, tongue, and chin. This article is through CNET, and from what I've read so far, this is a very interesting thing. So normally, most of us know that VR is pretty straightforward. You put the goggles on, you get into the thing. In fact, if you own an Oculus Quest, you know how that whole thing kind of works anyway. But with this, it's going to be a headset just like VR, except it's going to have an extra little bit down here, just above the nose piece that will scan this area here. So I'll kind of let the article do most of the explaining, but when I saw this, I was kind of like, hey, this is a pretty good idea. You know, this is pretty great. And especially if we're trying to break further into the realm of virtual reality, this will actually be of some good help. Now, for a lot of people, they might say, how will it affect gaming? Will it affect being able to visit others through VR? Or will this just kind of help the VR kick the bucket faster? I don't know. But, and yes, this is kind of an older article. I meant to report on this sooner, but unfortunately, time has not been on my side. So as you can see in this photo, we have our lovely model here, and she is demonstrating what looks to be kind of like an anime character, or probably her anime avatar. And you can see in this photo, she's very perfectly rounded out. You know, the hair is very well animated. We have a very well animated face. And as you can see above the VR headset here, we have that piece that actually sits just above. So it does look a little bit awkward. Obviously, this is just going to be a prototype. So that way, you know, it'll eventually advance forward, hopefully. But basically, this is going to help scan the rest of your face. So that way, if you have a specific avatar or maybe a specific character in a game, maybe it could match up to your face and make you a bit more immersed within that game or that character. So let's go ahead and we'll continue into the article. Virtual reality can track your body, your head, and even your eyes. The rest of your face is next. So what they're trying to do, they are ultimately trying to get you fully more immersed. So I've talked about this before, and I've only talked about it at length, but in my opinion, the future of gaming, even though we have Sony and we have all of them, I won't get started, they all talk about the innovation of gaming, what's going to come next, what's going to be the better of the bestest of the bestest of the bestest ever, and basically we keep coming to kind of the same point. Polishing a turd is simple to do, and it's easy to resell, but it's not exactly the innovation of gaming. Granted, I would love it if my game could look absolutely realistic. I absolutely enjoy it when my character just pops off the screen. But truthfully, though, if we're going to talk the innovation of gaming, if we're going to talk the inspiration of moving faster into the future, well, one book slash movie slash idea does come to mind. And yes, you already read my mind. I know you probably heard this. Some of you think it's stupid. Other people think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea, from my opinion anyway. So many of you remember the movie Ready Player One, which was directed by Steven Spielberg, and of course had an excellent montage of all his films, I think in the very beginning with the death race scene, which I thought was absolutely wonderful. I thought was great. But the truth about it is this idea is perfect. Now, granted, trying to hone it is going to be what's the challenge is there. But with the omnidirectional treadmill, with the almost realistic gloves, and with the headset coming in, I mean, let's face it, if we were to give this idea over to Elon Musk, let's say Elon were to take a break from this whole tirade of SpaceX. I don't know if he's ever going to get back to Tesla, but we'll see. But the truth is, if he were to take that break and if he were to really go after this kind of an idea, we may actually see something of it before a 5-year span is up. Granted, I know I'm going on about stuff, and granted, my take on Elon is very, so we'll see about that. Anyway, let me go ahead and I'll continue on the article. Oh joy! Facebook Mark Zuckerberg recently discussed an interest in eye and face tracking in VR to create more realistic avatars. So I meant to do an article on that. Basically, Mark, even though I absolutely dislike the man for a multitude of different reasons because he doesn't give a crap about his website, he does have, or did have, kind of a point. So Mark basically wanted to take the idea of VR and move it into the idea to help save the planet. Okay, let me explain Mark's little idea here. Mark is trying his best to come at the idea of being able to visit people without actually visiting them. Basically, the idea of appearing in home, appearing on screen, being possibly within a virtual setting without ever having to leave the comfort of your own home. Now, as good as this idea sounds, it sounds like a great idea. Maybe you want to visit somebody who lives super duper far away. You don't have the ability to travel. You don't have the money to take a plane. It does sound like a great idea. You just put on your VR headset. They invite you into their server. You invite them into theirs. It's amazing. And you're right in front of them. Maybe not for realsies, but it's just the fact that you have the ability to actually talk to them and visit with them and communicate. But a lot of people's kind of con on that would just be to say, what about a Zoom call? What about a FaceTime? Or what about a regular email? People would say the same thing. Now, naturally, I think the idea is a good idea, but unfortunately, we have the issue of disassociation. And the truth about it is it kind of involves with social media, and a study that was done on social media a while back ago. Don't ask me to name sources. I'm bad with dates. Basically the thing is, it was a matter of disassociation. Basically, a person being behind a screen for so long that they forget about what real human interaction is. On top of which, what Mark also forgets is the fact that people will have to go out. I hate to say it, but you can't eat virtual food in a virtual restaurant. You can't buy virtual groceries from a virtual grocery store. You can't, as a human being in a physical realm, you cannot hope to survive off of digital goods. And if you're the kind of person who is involved in the whole microtransaction thing, hey, hi, how are you? Worthless digital goods is a real term, just so you know. Any hoozle, before I go nuts on that wonderful little topic, isn't it amazing how I shift? It's crazy. So the VR to create more realistic avatars, basically you and another person being able to talk, but even then, it would still be a form or a matter of disassociation. Plus, I hate to say it, but when you go on vacation, you're going somewhere, and not virtually. You're physically taking yourself to a very special area of the planet, no matter where that is, and you're doing your best to get away to pretty much dissolve the stresses of your everyday life. And that's what vacation is. But for a lot of people, they're not going to want a VR vacay. They want a real vacay. I sound like one of those people. Anyway, Oculus headsets don't have eye or face tracking tech yet, although that VR chip on the Quest 2 could handle it. But there's a VR accessory for PCs coming this spring, that could animate your avatars, which will in turn go ahead and they'll affect the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you already know, I'll tell you. HTC's newest VR accessory, the Vive Facial Tracker, the VFT, uses 2 cameras and an infrared illuminator to track facial movements at 60 Hz, including what the company says are 38 facial movements across the lips, jaw, teeth, tongue, chin, and cheeks, giving an accurate real-time depiction of almost the entirety of the lower facial area, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool that basically you just have to put on your headset, and that wonderful little chip that you saw in that picture there is going to capture the entire of your face, and it will actually really liven up your avatar to the point where your avatar will pretty much just be almost very personified, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's a good idea. The facial tracker fits onto the company's business-focused Vive Pro IVR headset, which already has eye tracking. The $130 accessory is available March 24th. Yes, yes, yes. I hear corporate America screaming in this ear, buy, yeah. I know. It's the way it goes. So apparently, this right here, this picture is the HTC's new Vive Tracker, which is a 3-pronged device like the original, but smaller. So they've downsized the sensor, they've downsized the ability of the tracker, which is good. Of course, it's not going to be big and bulky like most prototypes, so it's going to be pretty much smaller, I would say. And who knows, they might even go on from there. Oh, and our favorite picture again. HTC also announced an update to its Vive Tracker, a wireless set of tracking devices that can attach to hands, feet, or accessories to add additional objects or body movements to VR. Now, here's the thing about that. So, with most prototypes that we've seen today, obviously we're not ready for Ready Player One status yet. And many of the gloves and the motion tracking stuff, as well as this up here, as you notice in our picture of our female, even though her avatar looks awesome and we have an awesome piece of tech that's just literally laying down her head, she's wired up. Basically, everything that you don't see within prototype testing, it shouldn't come as a great shock. I mean, we've seen it with a lot of other different prototypes. In testing grounds, you figure, I believe there was one test done before with some headset, and it was so wired up, it had to have multiple channels for different power and stuff like that. And unfortunately, for many people, it would look like something out of a sci-fi film. But the truth is, it's not really out of a sci-fi film. It's like legit. It's legit real, because before the finalized or futuristic product is completely made, well, the prototype has to actually pass its fair share of testing. And even then, it's retested and so on and so forth. Why do I sound like I'm trying to sell you something? I'm not, I promise. So, the Vive Tracker 3.0 is smaller than previous Vive trackers, but has better battery life, up to 7 hours. Say that 5 times fast, according to HTC. The trackers, also coming March 24th, cost $130 each. You still want that PS5, don't you? We haven't tried either peripheral yet, but we've spent time with the HTC's eye tracking Vive Pro and Vive trackers in the past. So they're trying to tell you that they do that stuff. So I'll just leave it right here. Pros and cons of a piece of tech like this. Now, in the picture, we can kind of see one con already. It looks really clunky. It looks almost like Radio Shack dinosaur clunky. And for many of you that might remember the brick phones, it kind of would remind you of that. But like I said, it is in fact a prototype. Even though many people might see a finalized product, it's definitely not the finalized product. Because most of the time, these companies, they'll sit there and they'll say, okay, this is version 1, and then version 2. It's kind of like when you upgrade your laptop, your phone, your tablets, all that stuff. That's what's going to happen with VR headsets. It's going to go from version 1 all the way to version 5, version 10, and you'll be given updates maybe within the firmware and the software of the VR headset. But the truth is, as it goes on, it'll be no different than a console would be. I won't go there with consoles. So the point is pros and cons. This may allow you to actually visit loved ones from far away if you can't visit them in a more Avatar-esque setting, which I think is pretty cool. Very good idea on that end. However, could this feed into disassociation between physical contact with other people? It might. Again, this all depends on the kind of person you are. If you're like me, an introvert, if you're seriously introverted, this may not really help that much. Now, as far as social media or those who are very social extroverts, this won't be too much of an issue, but the study would remain to be seen. The idea is really good. Of course, the cost, well, I don't see what the costs are, but I'm just looking forward to see what it is. And you know what? If I could get my hands on this product sometime in the future, I would definitely love to see what it can handle. And if it's possible, we may actually see this shift into gaming faster than what we have already. So all this is speculation. None of this is confirmed. None of this can be, it's going to happen tomorrow. No, nothing like that. But it would be interesting to see. And for those who are a part of the VTuber community, if I have anybody who watches VTubers, this is going to, or if you want to be a VTuber, this is definitely going to liven up the action, so to speak, liven up the experience of being a VTuber. Because not only will you be able to have a more 3D model of your favorite character or a personalized character, you will also be able to have a more animated with expressions. For most VTubers, they end up having to click buttons on their keyboard. They have to move the character around somehow, and it might be a little bit complicated for certain things and certain ways to do things. However, for this, well, the expressions could possibly be programmed in, meaning no more pressing on specific, wow, I'm still not talking right, buttons on your keyboard in order to access certain expressions for your character, when all you have to do is smile, frown, or maybe laugh, whatever that may be. I look like a psychopath on video, I'm sure. But yeah, eventually it would really up the game and up the ante. Now, not to detract from those who make VTuber characters, those guys do a great job. Great job. I've seen some pretty interesting stuff, and I know the time it takes to put into that stuff. If you've never witnessed the creation of a VTuber character before, you got to check that out. The time it takes to make one of those is, you have to know what you're doing. So we will see where this goes. We'll see what problems arise or fall from this, or we'll see if there are more pros than cons. It would really be nice to see another piece of tech that actually doesn't just inspire, but goes further into pros rather than just is so full of mess. Now, with this prototype, I know there's going to be bugs, there's going to be glitches, there's going to be a boatload of that stuff. Every prototype has one. So I can't pass a firm judgment just yet. Plus, I really would like to get my hands on one myself to give a better review on my wonderful little tech channel here. That's if you care to view and subscribe and stuff. So with that being said, hopefully this really knows how to take off. Hopefully it is just another wonderful stepping stone in the spirit of gaming. And I really do hope, as with everything in today's current climate of everything, I really hope that we don't go too far into certain areas that we shouldn't with this technology. Political being one of them. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video, which is going to be a little while out. So just be patient. Oh, and by the way, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. And one last thing before I go, if you haven't already checked it out, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to upload it to BitChute, because BitChute for some reason is being extremely problematic for me right now. I know that's everybody's favorite word. However, you can go to Rumble or you can go to YouTube and watch my gameplay of Ori and the Blind Forest. Came back out in 2011, was redone in 2015, and honestly, I absolutely love the game. If you haven't seen the gameplay yet, go check it out. I think you might like it. It is a little bit long. I'm going to try to shorten that stuff up so that way you're not like, So, yeah. Other than that, though, go check that out. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe even to that video. And I hope you enjoy it as well. Other than that, I will be back sometime in the near future with more good stuff. Part 2 of Ori and the Blind Forest gameplay, walkthrough, game through, walk, play. Oh, God, words. And I'll see you guys in the next one without being awkward. Hopefully. As always, I'm Zach. You guys have a great day. Signing off.